we have one of the largest updates for the Asus Rog Ally, and I'm excited to share with you guys about this update because it is phenomenal. Just make sure you go to your Asus ROG Armoury crate to do these updates, and also make sure you go to the Asus Live update in order to update anything that you need device-wise, hardware-wise, and also you may have to update the BIOS. Now for this big substantial update, this large change, you have to make sure that you are on BIOS 3.16 at the least. Currently, we are on BIOS 3.34. If you are already on a newer BIOS, you can go ahead and proceed. Again, once more, just please make sure you go over to your Asus Center and make sure that all your live updates are up to date. And lastly, make sure to update your Asus ROG Armoury crate. Once you do, this is where you're going to see a lot of the changes. It may require a few updates and maybe a few times for the device to reboot, but I can assure you it is 100% worth the update. Using PCs, especially if you have a Asus motherboard or any Asus products, we don't like to use Asus Armoury crate. But when it comes to Armoury crate SE, especially when it comes to the Asus ROG Ally, it actually is pretty decent. And the reason being, their new 1.4.5 proves absolutely that. What you can actually do now is a feature called gyroscope. This was a feature that was asked by many Asus ROG Ally fans because it would help, especially when it comes to FPS, when it comes to racing, or when it comes to any type of simulator. You can actually use the Asus ROG Ally to move similar to as a DualSense controller, where you can actually help move around the Asus ROG Ally to actually help you aim. And the best part is you can actually set the sensitivity, dead zones, and you can even activate the gyroscope behavior when you press a certain button. Such as my Cyberpunk 2077, I set it to the left trigger, and as soon as if I hit left trigger, gyroscope will be active and I can use my Asus ROG Ally to actually help me aiming at my enemies or aiming at anything during gameplay. Another big update that there is with the Asus ROG Ally on Armoury Crate SE is that when you go over to settings here, you can go over down to calibration. Best part is you don't only have to calibrate your triggers or your sticks, you can actually calibrate the gyroscope, which is pretty amazing. If it gives you any issues, this should help calibrate your Asus ROG Ally into working correctly. Another big update is on control mode. You can actually adjust the sticks dead zones, and not just the anti-dead zones, which was in the prior update, where you can increase the sensitivity to your sticks. But the best part is you can actually adjust the responsive curve. You can set it to exactly how you would like it. The dead zones, the outer threshold, that's already been here, and the anti-dead zone is also a newer feature that you can also adjust if you want to increase the sensitivity in your sticks. But the better part is you can actually adjust the response curve to your liking. Remember the CPU boost issue where it would cause inefficiency and even causes issues with performance? Now you could shut it off. It is in the system usage side. Now you can get better performance and better efficiency out of your AMD Z1 processor. Now when you go under GPU settings, a lot of your AMD Adrenalin settings, the advanced settings, are set in Asus Armoury Crate now. Now you have much easier access where you can actually turn on RSR. You could turn on anti-lag. I wouldn't recommend anti-lag, especially if you play games such as Call of Duty. It'll cause a false flag in Activision's anti-cheat system, which can risk banning you on Activision, and that's something I'm sure that nobody wants to do. Another large improvement is when you go under Command Center, now you can actually change the real-time monitoring. Instead of just the standard box setting, you actually have a minimal setting where it shows just the FPS and the battery life and time. They also have a row where you can actually see all your settings instead of just a box. And then, of course, you have your typical box setting. Now in Command Center, there is some extra applications that you can put in Command Center to help you access it a lot quicker. When you're using a mouse and keyboard, sometimes it's a headache trying to open up the Command Center. But now you can go into the keyboard shortcuts and you can set a shortcut for your keyboard to access Armoury Crate and also access the Command Center, most importantly. Another large change is when you go over to the Command Center, you can adjust the brightness. Of course, adjust the brightness is nothing new, but what is a big change is you can actually adjust it all the way down to 0, and you can notice the screen get a lot more dim. So now you don't have to worry about it being too bright. This will also help it for efficiency if you're trying to conserve your battery's life. I gotta say, the Asus Rog Ally team is amazing for listening to everybody out there in the community, especially listening to all our advice for making the device much better and not just coming out with the device and just forgetting it. Hopefully we hear something soon about the memory card slot, because I'm sure there is a ton of people waiting for some feedback from Asus about it. Also, I gotta say, I hope you found this content very useful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you know anybody else who has a Asus Rog Ally or is thinking about purchasing one, make sure you share this video with them. And also, if you're not part of the big wonderful fan band, make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button for more. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for all the newest updates. Make sure you follow my Twitter handle right here, as it is the same as my TikTok and IG as well. Fanbam guys, what do you hope to see in the next Asus Rog Ally update? Thanks so much for watching. This is Chris Mizo, signing out.